Upon submission, NEBOSH will usually issue your results within a specific number of days. In some cases, there may be delays, for example, if there is an investigation for any reason. As we mentioned earlier, you may only get pass or refer for this assignment, no specific grades. You will usually receive feedback from NEBOSH about your performance in this assessment, which may give you guidance on how to improve your work in case you need to resubmit. If you need to resubmit, you will need to register for the assessment again and pay the appropriate fee. You are not limited on the number of times that you can resubmit the practical assessment for marking. However, you must remember that both the units of NEBOSH IGC must be passed within a 5-year period. Let's check the details and the structure of your risk assessment form and how exactly you should complete it. The risk assessment should normally be carried out in your own workplace. In case you don't have access to a workplace, please check with your learning partner or training provider. The training provider or learning partner may help you find a suitable place to conduct your assessment after coordination with NEBOSH. Regardless of where you are conducting your risk assessment, it is necessary to coordinate with the management of the premises. This is to secure any permits or arrange any logistics needed for your own safety and convenience. For example, you may need specific personal protective equipment, or there may be some restricted areas in the place. You must keep your own safety and the safety of others as a priority while conducting this assessment. This risk assessment consists of 4 main stages or parts. Number 1, description of the organization and methodology used. Number 2, the risk assessment. Number 3, prioritize 3 actions with justification. And number 4, review, communicate, and check. Let's start with the first part or the first stage. Description of the workplace and the methodology that you used to do the risk assessment. Please note that these are 2 separate headings in the risk assessment form and you need to complete both of them. You must use the headed table or form in part 1 of the assessment pack to complete this stage of the assignment. Start by giving a clear and concise description of your chosen organization. Refer to the word limit stated in the form for this field. You can hide the name and location of your organization if you like for confidentiality, but everything else needs to be real. Your assessment is going to be marked by an examiner appointed by NEBOSH. The examiner will need a clear description of your organization to be able to decide whether your risk assessment is suitable and sufficient. If you provide an unclear or an incomplete description, this could affect the marking of the risk assessment. You should also consider the scope or coverage of your exercise. In case you work for a large organization, it is recommended that you focus on a specific department, division, or process, for example, the mechanics workshop or the kitchen. The following must be included in the description of your organization as a minimum. Number 1, the name of the organization. Number 2, the site location. Again, you don't need to give the full address, just the general location, for example, Hong Kong. Number 3, the number of workers employed by the organization. Number 4, general description of the organization, which must include products manufactured or services provided, and the types of activities undertaken and shift patterns worked. Number 5, a description of the area to be included in the risk assessment. Number 6, any other relevant information. For example, who has the day-to-day responsibility to health and safety or for health and safety in your organization. Or an outline of the pieces of equipment in the workplace or any hazardous substances used, etc. If you feel there is nothing relevant to add, you do not need to include this in the description. Please note that the description of the organization should be detailed enough to give the examiner a clear image of your workplace. If you like to see a good example of workplace description, please refer to the completed assignment sample included in the assessment pack. You are not yet done with the first stage of the risk assessment. You still need to outline how you carried out the risk assessment or the methodology that you used. For this, you will need to include the following as a minimum. You need to include the sources of information that you consulted. This may be the ILO standards or any textbooks or international standards, etc. who you spoke to, maybe some of the workers or supervisors, etc., and how the hazards and controls were identified, for example, by checking incident records, inspection, or non-confidential safety reports, etc.
If you like this lesson, why don't you consider our full e-learning program? I'll talk to you there.